Do we really want to be less anxious? Is that the goal? If we were less anxious, what then? Does that bring joy? Does that bring success? Does that bring fruitful relationships? Today I'd like to talk about, do we really want to be less anxious? My name is Lauren. Thank you for subscribing. This content today is in response to my question that I put on my podcast on Spotify, asking if you would like me to load my talks onto Spotify. I had many people say yes, so I'm now going to do more of these talks. These talks are aimed at helping you think, helping you feel joy, resilience, helping you to regulate your emotions. These talks are also aimed at helping you to sleep. You know, it's those moments before we sleep that our mind can sometimes run away with us, and we fall down that rabbit hole of ruminating. Welcome. It is just beautiful here. I can see mountains and I can see the play of wind through the natives, through the eucalypts. And one of the things I really love is watching the sun dance across the mountains, so you know where the clouds are, because you can see the clouds, the shadow of the cloud moving across the mountain. It is just beautiful. I have moved again. I live close to the Barossa. I'm going to call it the Barossa. It's Yatalanga in South Australia, and it's really beautiful. If you've been following me, you will know that I had a series of tragedies occur in around 2021, I think, that year and the next. And then something else occurred that made everything else look like marshmallow. And I consider how to process these events so that I ensure myself and feel joy every day. We each have our journey, don't we? Today I wanted to quietly chat about, is it really the question? Are we really concerned about whether we should reduce anxiety? Is that what we want? Anxiety comes from stress. In order to take a breath in life, there is a level of stress. Literally, to take a biological breath, there is going to be some stress. When we start a new relationship, there's going to be some stress processing how to get along with that person, how to have a fruitful relationship. If we're going to go for that promotion, there's going to be some stress. If we're going to work through and resolve issues in a family, there's going to be some stress. Stress can be eustress, being EU stress, that's how it's spelt, or distress, being DIS stress. Distress is generally negative. Eustress can be positive, that feeling before we launch into a 100-meter sprint in order to win a race. That adrenaline feeling when we're setting ourselves a task, when we want to win, when we want to compete, when we want to achieve. That's eustress. So there's a difference between distress, which involves a level of anxiety, and eustress, which is more positive about motivation. We can feel anxiety when there's motivation involved as well. So, is the question, do we want to feel less anxiety, or is the question, what is the journey towards joy? Where is your focus? If we focus on feeling less anxiety, our bodies will feel anxiety. It focuses on what we think about. As soon as we say, I want to feel less anxiety, All we think about is anxiety. Don't think about the pink elephant in the room. All we can think about is a pink elephant. Instead of thinking about how to feel less anxiety, let's explore, let's immerse ourselves into how do we feel joy. One of the foundations of joy is resilience, the ability to self-regulate fairly promptly following loss, trauma, grief. I'm not saying that it's important to get over trauma quickly. I'm not saying that. Our research indicates we never get over trauma, we evolve. Joy is tied to our ability to self-regulate, our ability to have perspective, look down upon an issue and say, this isn't very good, I'm going to choose to be okay anyway. I've shared with so many of you the story of my brother who took his life and how my mother, who adored my brother, found joy following, and I've talked about her black box technique. Mum said to me that she refused to lose joy because her son died. Her son died in tragic circumstances. It was extremely traumatizing because we needed to identify him in the morgue. And of course there was a coroner's report. So extremely stressful. Mum said, I refuse to lose a window of joy in my life because I lost your brother who I love so much. We have the ability as humans to be like crystals, hold us up to the light, and we can feel several feelings at once. We can feel joy while we're feeling sadness. Who do we choose to be in life? We are not one feeling. When we go through our day, at the end of the day, we don't feel one feeling. We look back on the day and we feel a myriad of feelings. And we can choose which light in the crystal of our lives to focus on. I'm not saying this is easy. That is not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that we can look at the different colors of who we are and say, I really like that yellow. The purple's pretty painful and I've got to spend some time with purple and do some homage to that old purple, but I really like the yellow. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to stare at the yellow. Now, I've had an experience that nobody should have. For whatever reasons, that experience was given to me. It's my cup, my chalice from which I drink, and it brings me pain each day, this experience I've had. Yet, I look out on these mountains and I see the interplay of shadows against the trees. I notice the shape of the clouds and the iridescent blue. I notice the moving of the clouds and how they shapeshift. They almost look like sheep. They're beautiful. And I see how when the blue sky hits the mountains, it's a different shade of blue. When I look up higher, it's a deeper shade of blue. And I can now see a hawk flying. It's beautiful. I still feel pain. I still process. I've still been unfortunate in the experiences I've had in life. But I will not allow myself to lose the joy of the mountains. I don't get it right every day. I feel pain. I don't stand here as testament to how to survive life. I stand here as testament to, in some ways, how to fall. One of the earmarks of joy is your ability to self-regulate, decide which colour to focus on. Another earmark to joy is your ability to process grief. Another earmark to joy is your ability to be resilient, which is a practice. It's a skill over time. And what do? We practice. Anxiety serves a purpose at times. Ask yourself, how does your anxiety help you be you? How does your anxiety clarify your sense of you? How does your anxiety help you move through the journey of your life? If it doesn't help you, release it. If it helps you, allow it at times. Have the ability to slow down the cadence of your experience so that you can get to know yourself. Ensure that you always prioritize service to others. If we become so wrapped up in our grief and our trauma that we forget we are only here to service others, we lose the opportunity of joy. Joy is not always bliss. Sometimes joy is simply getting back up. Being witness to my father dying over 8 days is one of the most joyful experiences of my life. It reminds me of true love, how in love my father was with my mother, that my father chose to stop eating moments after he heard my mother had passed. When I say moments, he did succeed in eating several vanilla custard tarts before he decided to stop eating. He was so in love with her. I've never seen anyone as in love. I had the amazing privilege of sitting in that room over 8 days while he slowly left this life. There's so much joy in that. And I hear people say, oh, why did you want to be there? Or why would you want to see a dead body? Because it's part of life. It's part of the beauty of life. I cannot ask you, and I don't have the right to ask you to find joy in your pain, but you have that right. I can say to myself that I choose to find joy in my pain. Pain, grief, is one colour in our myriad of colours. We never know what is going to be around the corner. We can plan, but life may have another script for us, and that's okay. I'm going to leave it there. If you like these, I can do more of these. These are just thoughts, just like shadows that cover the hills and wander over the hill, marked by the passage of the sun. These are my thoughts. Life is not easy. Life is not necessarily full of bliss, but we can choose who to be. I can hear Adrian coming down the driveway. This is a good time to finish. Take care of yourself. Focus on self-regulation. Anxiety is not always a dirty word.